Hello everyone, welcome to Mechanical Engineering online classes, MIOC. This is Shravani Sriramoju. Why we need to do the geometric modeling is already discussed. Now let us see how to do it. Now imagine we need to design a car body. This car body is a solid which is made up of planes. Planes are made up of lines or curves. So it is important for us to learn the curve representation as a major part or the basic part of geometric modeling. Why curves? If we look at the car body, this is one plane. This is the other plane. This is the third plane. This is the fourth plane. This is the fifth plane. These planes are joined at some intersection edges. There are intersections. These all planes, once they are fixed at point, they are to be attached with the side plane, this plane. So if I am picking the top plane is somehow like this. This must be attached to a window plane. So there is a common edge here. And this particular plane, each plane is joined by different lines. All these lines together, satisfying a mathematical model, became a plane. And such all planes together makes a body, solid body. So that's the reason why we have to first learn the curve representation. The curve might be straight, the curve might be having curvature. A curve can be represented as an array of coordinate points. And the coordinate points or the points on the curve are infinite. So making an array of a curve will be too hectic and it is highly impossible because the memory needed will be also too high. So we represent a curve using a mathematical equation. The mathematical equation of a curve will satisfy every point on the curve. So mathematically, curves can be represented by non-parametric form or parametric form. In case of non-parametric form, the non-parametric form of a curve can be explicit or implicit. So let us learn what explicit and implicit curves are. Explicit non-parametric representation of curve. As the name suggests, explicit means it explicitly represents the curve. That is, the information it gives is accurate. There is no ambiguity. For example, if the curve is to be represented as y is equal to some constant plus c2x plus c3x square plus c4x cube plus and so on. So here for a particular value of x, if x is independent variable, y is dependent on x as a function of x. So for one value of x, there is exactly one value of y alone. So y will have a single unique solution for each independent variable value. So this is what an explicit representation is. One example is y is equal to mx plus c, a straight line. If I am to consider an xy here, let there be a line. Let this be the y is equal to mx plus c line. For every value of y, there exists exactly one x, or for every value of x, there exists only one value of y. So the moment x is known as say x2, we get y2 alone. We don't get y2 or y3 something else. We get only y2. For a given value of y1, we get only x1 as an answer. So this is what explicit representation of a curve is. Implicit non-parametric representation of curve. As the name suggests, implicit and explicit both will go as antonyms to each other. So when explicit is defining one-to-one mapping of points, implicit will take care of the multi-valued curves. For example, if we take the equation of a circle, x minus xc whole square plus y minus yc whole square is equal to r square. Let r be the radius of the circle. If xc and yc are the centers of circle, then the equation of circle is given by this. If I am assuming that the center xc yc is origin, this is the circle. And the equation of this circle is x square plus y square is equal to r square provided the radius is r. Now in this particular case, when I have to pick one point here, for a given value of x, there are two values of y. If this is the point that is picked by me, let this be say x1. The x coordinate of this point is x1. Here also there is a point whose x coordinate is x1 only. But the y coordinate here is y1 and the y coordinate here is minus y1. So for the same point of x, we have different y. So when we say the point, the x coordinate of a point is x1, even then there is no clarity that the point is this or this, because two points are having the same x1 value. Even when we check from this equation, if I am to write it as x square plus y square is equal to r square, if I want to find x, this will become root over r square minus y square. This will be plus or minus. X square is equal to r square minus y square. And x will be equal to plus or minus r square root over r square minus y square. So x can be root over r square minus y square or minus root over r square minus y square. The same story holds good for y also. So even y can be written in the similar fashion. So there are two values of y for a given x, or there are two values of x plus or minus for a given value of y. So this is called the implicit representation, or otherwise when there is no one-to-one mapping between the dependent and independent variable, or in other words, when we do not know which variable is dependent and which variable is independent. In this previous case of explicit, we exactly know that given x, y is a function of x, so y is dependent on x, x is independent, y is dependent. For one value of x, that is exactly one value of y alone. But here, x square plus y square is equal to r square. X can be written as a function of y can be written as a function of x. So there is no clarity in which variable is dependent and which one is independent. So these forms of curves, which are the circles or even conics or all multi-valued curves, even when we take an example of an ellipse, the same holds true. So for a given x, there are two y's. Here x is x1. So this will be y1, this will be minus y1. The same is true to a parabola also. Here for a given x1, there is a y1 here and a minus y1 here. So these things, all these curves are represented in implicit form. So this is about the curve representation in non-parametric form. It might be explicit or implicit, that depends on the curve or line that we are considering. Curves can be classified as analytic curves and synthetic curves. Analytic curves are those that can be represented by simple mathematical equations. That means on which all the analysis is known to us in the form of formulae, in the form of properties of an entity. Synthetic are the free form curves, whose analysis is new to each one of us, like a random line that we draw, and it is not neither straight nor it is having uniform curvature and so on. So free form curves are the synthetic curves, analytic curves are the circles, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola and so on. So before we learn the parametric form of representation, let us see the limitations of non-parametric representation of a curve. Curves, when most of the curves that we use in general life are implicit in form. The curves are often multi-valued. So the computer most of the times may end up in ambiguity. And if the slope of a curve at any point is vertical, then the slope becomes infinity, which is again very difficult to deal with computationally and programming wise also. Also, computing the coordinates is very inconvenient and a very lengthy process. especially when it is seen from the programmer view, because ultimately all these things must be programmed. Only then a computer model is developed. So rather than dealing with so many number of x values, then y values and even z values, it is always easy for us to represent all the coordinates x, y and z, which will depend on only one parameter. Let the parameter be some u. Some parameter u. So when the parameter u is there, we really do not care whether what variable is dependent and what is independent, because all the x, y and z will be dependent variables and only u is independent variable. So we can easily analyze the curve despite whether it is explicit or implicit. So parametric representation is used to overcome all the limitations of non-parametric form of representation. Now if suppose P of u is any point on the curve, the point on the curve can be written in the form of its coordinates, but here we don't really need to bother which is independent, which is dependent. For 1x, how many y and z are there, these things are not our business. So we will take them as x of u. X is a function of some new parameter u. Similarly, y is a function of the same parameter u. Z is a function of again the same parameter u. And this u may be ranging from some two values. Say u varies from u minimum to u maximum. So this is a parametric representation of any curve. Parametric representation of a line. We know that a line is defined by connecting 2 points. Let the 2 points be P1 and P2. And let us use a parameter u to represent this line. Now if the parameter u ranges from say 0 to 1, so on the line u value is 0 at the first point and u value is 1 at the last point, then if this is P1 and if this is P2, any point P can be given as, any point P on the line can be represented as P1 plus u into P2 minus P1, where u varies between 0 and 1. Now for example, if u is 0, substitute u0 here and we get P as P1, then we get this point P1. When u is made 1, this will become P1 plus P2 minus P1. So P will be equal to P2, which is this point. So every point on the line can be represented using this particular equation, which is nothing but a parametric representation of a line using a parameter u. And the length of line can be given as capital L, let it be L. Then it can be, if the coordinates here are x2, y2 and z2, the coordinates of P1 are x1, y1 and z1, then the length of the line can be written as root over x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square plus z2 minus z1 whole square. And the unit vector is given by, let the unit vector be represented as small n. That will be given by P2 minus P1 divided by L. We can find the point P. Let the point P be x, y and z. So since P is P1 plus u into P2 minus P1, we can find x, which is a function of u, as x1 plus u into x2 minus x1. In place of P we have taken x. So in place of P1 we take x1. In place of P2 we take x2. So similarly we can find y of u as y1 plus u into y2 minus y1, and z of u as z1 plus u into z2 minus z1. So we can find x and y and z of point P from this equation. So this is the parametric representation. Rather writing all the three, we will write only one equation. This will suffice all the x, y and z. And we don't have to worry which one is dependent and which one is independent. All of these are, all the x, y, z are dependent on only one parameter, that is u. So this is the parametric representation of a line. Parametric representation of a circle. We know the non-parametric form of equation. What is it? It is x square plus y square is equal to r square if r is the radius and the center is origin. So this is a non-parametric form from which we can find y as root over r square minus x square and so on, whatever it is. Now we have to write x and y in terms of one parameter. Now if I am picking one point here, let the point that I am selecting be P of x and y. Let the center be O. Let this angle of OP making with the x-axis be theta. Now we can write x, which is this, as x is equal to r cos theta. Let the radius of the circle be capital R. It will be r cos theta. Similarly, the value of y, Oy, this will be r sin theta. So x and y, both of them are depending on one parameter, that is theta, with the condition that theta varies from 0 to 360. So this is the parametric representation of circle. X is equal to r cos theta, y is equal to r sin theta, where theta varies from 0 to 2 pi. It can be represented in a different form also. We can use a parameter u instead of theta. So let theta be equal to, in place of theta as a parameter, we are trying to use u as a parameter. So theta can be written as theta max into u. Theta max is 2 pi. The maximum theta will be 360. It is 2 pi. And theta will be equal to 2 pi u. So here we can write x as r cos of 2 pi u and y is r sin 2 pi u, where u varies between 0 and 1. So this is another representation in parametric form of circle in terms of u. We can also find the tangent vector. The tangent vector be p dash of u. P is a point on the curve. P dash, this p of u is nothing but x comma y, which is in terms of u. So finding tangent is differentiating it. Then we get, on differentiation, it will be x dash and y dash. Differentiating x and y, we get differentiation of this will be minus 2 pi r sine of 2 pi u, comma, y dash will be 2 pi r cos of 2 pi u, where u is again between 0 and 1. So this is the tangent vector for circle. In case the center of the circle is not origin, let the circle be somewhere here and let the origin be somewhere here. Let this be x and y. This is the center C, and let the center be xc, yc and zc. Let this be the center C. Now x will be written as xc plus, xc is this one, this is xc, xc plus the same thing, this xc is added because it is at a distance from origin. Here the distance from origin is 0 plus r cos theta, but there is xc plus r cos theta. So it will be xc plus r cos theta. Similarly, y is yc plus r sin theta, and the value of z, since this is considered to be in xy plane, zc will be equal to z will be equal to zc. This is not changing, and theta ranges from 0 to 2 pi. So this is the case when the circle is away from origin. It is at a distance from origin. This is it. Let us see the parametric representation of conic curves, the first being ellipse. We know that circle is a special case of ellipse, wherein the equation of ellipse in non-parametric form is known to us as x square by a square plus y square by b square is 1. When a is equal to b, it becomes radius of circle. Then x square plus y square will be equal to r square. Here in place of r, we have a and b because a and b are different for ellipse. They are not equal. We know the parametric representation of circle, which is nothing but x is equal to r cos theta and y is equal to r sin theta. But in case of an ellipse, this r for x will be a and this r for y will be b, because it is x square by a square plus y square by b square is equal to 1. So the parametric equation for ellipse will be x is equal to a cos theta, y is equal to b sin theta, and z is equal to zc. In this particular case, we are considering zc to be 0 because we did not consider xc and yc also. Xc and yc are considered to be 0, the center being origin, and theta is ranging from 0 to 2 pi. If we consider this is O. Let this be some A1 point, A2 point, B1 point and B2 point. Let the point be x, y, p. So we can write p of x, y as a cos theta comma b sin theta. In case the center is not origin, then we will have x as xc plus a cos theta, y as yc plus b sin theta, where 0 less than or equal to theta less than or equal to 2 pi and z is equal to zc. For this ellipse, this will be the parametric representation. This is theta. Parabola is defined mathematically as a curve generated by a point that moves such that its distance from a fixed point, which is the focus, is always equal to its distance to a fixed line called the directrix. So this P point, point that satisfies this condition will make a parabola. So let us see its representation in parametric form. The parametric representation of a parabola. Let us imagine that our parabola is like this. These two endpoints, unlike ellipse or circle, this is a open curve. So these two endpoints is important. Only then the system will understand to how much amount of parabola must be displayed. So let PV be the vertex, PF be the focus, and P is any point on the parabola curve. This is the vector, and this distance will be AU square. If from the vertex to focus is A, then this will be AU square, and this will be 2AU. But this is the axis of symmetry, and this is the directrix. Then the parametric representation of parabola can be written as x is equal to xv if pv is xv, yv and zv, then x can be written as xv plus 2au, y can be written as yv plus au square, this one, and z can be written as zv, where u varies from 0 to infinity, because this parabola can go to any extent. So this is the parametric representation of a parabola. Parametric representation of hyperbola. Let this be the conjugate axis and this be the transverse axis. Here is our actual origin. This is the PV position vector. This is the origin. Let this be one focus and this is the other foci. These are the foci. The asymptotes are drawn here. So from PV, this is A along transverse axis and this is B along the conjugate axis. And by the definition, we know that hyperbola is a curve generated by a point which when moves in such a way that at any position the difference of its distance from the fixed points, that is f1 and f and f1, is constant and equal to the transverse axis, that will make a hyperbola. So if the coordinates of PV are xv, yv and zv, then the parametric representation of a hyperbola can be given as x is equal to xv plus a cos h theta, y is equal to yv plus b sin h theta, and z is equal to zv. So we can see that the curve at 2 points a comma 0 and minus a comma 0, the x-axis is intersecting the curve at these 2 points and y-axis does not intersect the curve at all. The y in the sense yw, the conjugate axis. So this is the parametric representation of hyperbola. In place of theta we can use u also. It will be x is equal to xv plus a cos hu, y is equal to yv plus b sin hu, and z is zv. Whereas the non-parametric representation or the implicit equation of hyperbola can be given as x minus xv whole square by a square minus y minus yv whole square by b square is equal to 1. So this is the implicit non-parametric expression of hyperbola and this is the parametric form of hyperbola.